I still remember that day like it was yesterday. The smell of designer perfume and the soft hum of elegant music filled the air as I stepped into the luxury store. The salesman, dressed in a tailored suit, gave me a once-over before his eyes widened in disapproval. I tried to ignore the uneasy feeling in my stomach and walked towards the racks of beautiful clothes. As I began to browse through the collection, the salesman approached me with a forced smile. "Excuse me, ma'am, I need to inform you that we don't carry your size here," he said in a condescending tone. I felt a flush rise to my cheeks, but I tried to maintain my composure. "I just want to take a look around," I replied, attempting to brush him off. However, he persisted, his voice growing louder and more embarrassing. "I'm afraid it's not just about finding the right size. Our brand is specifically designed for a certain physique. Yours doesn't quite fit the mold," he sneered, his eyes scanning my body with disdain. The store fell silent, and I felt all eyes on me. My heart sank, and my face burned with humiliation. I tried to defend myself, to tell him that size is just a number, but my voice caught in my throat. Before I could muster the courage to speak up, he politely asked me to leave. "I'm sorry, ma'am, but perhaps you'd be more comfortable shopping elsewhere. We cater to a specific clientele and, well, you just don't fit in." His words cut deep, like a knife twisting in my gut. I quietly gathered my dignity and walked out of the store, the salesman's condescending tone echoing in my mind. I couldn't help but wonder if I was indeed not good enough, if I was somehow less deserving of luxury and beauty because of my size. The tears I held back in the store finally broke free as I walked away from the infamous luxury brand that had so callously rejected me. Little did they know, their harsh words lit a fire within me, a burning desire to prove them wrong. I would show them that their brand, their beauty, was not exclusive to the skinny and the perfect. It was available to anyone who dared to believe in themselves, and I was going to be the one to do just that. But for now, the wound was fresh, and the pain was real. I was left to pick up the pieces of my shattered confidence, and the road to healing seemed long and arduous. How could I possibly overcome this painful experience? I'll never forget the day I was asked to leave that luxury store. The humiliation still echoed in my mind, like a constant reminder that I wasn't good enough. I felt like I was walking around with a giant scarlet letter on my forehead, one that screamed unworthy. As I walked home, I couldn't help but wonder if anyone else had ever felt this way. Was I truly alone in this struggle? I confided in my closest friends and family, hoping to find some solace in their words. I remember sitting in my living room, surrounded by the people I loved, and pouring my heart out to them. I told them about the sales associate's condescending tone, about the way she looked at me like I was less than human. My friends and family listened attentively, their faces filled with empathy and understanding. They offered words of encouragement, reminding me that I was so much more than my weight. They told me that I was beautiful inside and out, and that I deserved to be treated with respect. But despite their kind words, I couldn't shake off the feeling of inadequacy. It was like a seed had been planted in my mind, one that had taken root and was now growing into a full-blown tree of self-doubt. I began to wonder if I was indeed less worthy because of my weight. Was I less deserving of love and respect because I didn't fit into society's narrow standards of beauty? It was then that I realized I had a choice to make. I could let this experience break me, or I could use it as a catalyst for change. I could let the negativity consume me, or I could rise above it. I thought about all the times I had let other people's opinions dictate my self-worth. I thought about all the times I had doubted myself, all the times I had felt like I wasn't good enough. And then something inside of me clicked. I remembered a phrase my grandmother used to tell me when I was a child. "You are not a tree, you can move." I realized that I didn't have to be rooted in one place, that I didn't have to accept the status quo. I could move, I could change, I could grow. I started to research and explore the concepts of self-love and body positivity. I read stories of women who had overcome incredible obstacles, women who had learned to love themselves despite the societal pressures that told them they weren't good enough. I watched TED Talks, attended seminars, and joined online communities. And slowly but surely, I began to see the world in a different light. I began to realize that beauty wasn't just about physical appearance, but about the beauty of the soul. I started to see that every person, regardless of their weight, shape, or size, was deserving of love and respect. It was a journey, not a destination. It was a journey of self-discovery, of growth, and of transformation. And as I looked in the mirror, I saw a glimmer of hope. I saw a woman who was broken but not defeated. I saw a woman who was determined to rise above the noise, to take a stand against body shaming, and to spread a message of love and acceptance. The question was, how would I do it? I spent hours scrolling through social media, discovering a world I never knew existed. I stumbled upon plus-size influencers and bloggers who were confident, stylish, and unapologetic about their bodies. They shared their stories, their struggles, and their triumphs, and I felt a sense of connection I had never felt before. I began to realize that I wasn't alone, that there were others out there who understood what it was like to be marginalized and excluded because of their weight. As I delved deeper into this new world, I learned about body inclusivity and diversity in fashion. I read about brands that were pushing the boundaries of size and style, that were celebrating curves and rejecting the notion that beauty only came in one shape and size. I saw models and celebrities who looked like me, who were proud of their bodies and refused to conform to societal standards. For the first time in my life, I felt like I was part of a movement. I felt like I was part of something bigger than myself, something that could change the way people thought about beauty and fashion. I started to break free from the societal beauty standards that had held me back for so long. I started to see that beauty wasn't just about being thin or perfect, but about being confident and authentic. As I looked in the mirror, I saw a different person staring back at me. I saw a person who was strong, resilient, and determined. I saw a person who was worthy of love and respect, regardless of their weight or size. And with this newfound confidence, I started to wonder, what if? What if I could challenge the brand that had wronged me? What if I could show them that they were wrong about me, that I was more than just my weight or size? The thought sent a shiver down my spine, and I knew that I was ready to take on the next chapter of my journey. I still remember the spark that ignited within me, the flame of determination that burned brighter with each passing day. I was no longer the timid, insecure girl who had been kicked out of that luxury store. I had found my voice, and I was ready to use it. The decision to take a stand against the brand that had wronged me was not an easy one, but it was necessary. I started by doing something that many people, including myself, had once thought was impossible: buying the brand everyone said I couldn't wear. I walked into that same store, but this time I was different. I was confident, I was assertive, and I was determined. The sales associates looked at me in surprise as I browsed through the racks, picking out items that I knew would look great on me. As I tried on the clothes, I felt a sense of liberation wash over me. I was proving to myself and to everyone else that I could wear this brand, that I was worthy of it. The clothes fit perfectly, accentuating my curves and making me feel like $1,000,000. I looked in the mirror and barely recognized the person staring back at me. She was strong, she was fierce, and she was beautiful. I decided to take my newfound confidence to social media, to show the world what I had accomplished. I planned to post pictures and videos of myself wearing the brand's clothing, to show everyone that I was capable of pulling it off. I was prepared for the potential backlash, for the haters and the trolls who would try to bring me down. But I was ready for them. I had developed a thick skin, and I knew that I was not alone. As I prepared to post my content, I felt a sense of nervousness creeping in. What if people didn't like it? What if they still saw me as the obese girl who couldn't wear this brand? But then I remembered why I was doing this. I was doing it for myself, to prove to myself that I was worthy. I was doing it for all the other people out there who had been marginalized and excluded, to show them that they too could take a stand. I took a deep breath and I posted my content. The response was overwhelming, with messages pouring in from people all over the world. Some of them were positive, congratulating me on my confidence and my bravery. Others were negative, telling me that I was still too fat, that I would never be good enough. But I didn't let the haters bring me down. I knew that I had taken a stand and that I had won. As I looked at my reflection in the mirror, I knew that I had finally found my place in the world. I was no longer the girl who had been kicked out of that luxury store. I was a strong, confident woman, and I was ready to take on the world. But the question still lingered in my mind: would I be able to pull off the brand's clothing and prove everyone wrong? Only time would tell. I'll never forget the rush of adrenaline I felt as I clicked the post button on my social media account. The picture I had just uploaded was more than just a selfie. It was a declaration of independence, a celebration of self-love, and a bold statement to everyone who had ever doubted me. I was wearing the brand that everyone said I couldn't wear, the one that was supposedly reserved for the skinny and the fashionable. But there I was, rocking it with confidence and style. As the comments started pouring in, I could feel my heart racing with anticipation. Some people were hating on me, saying that I was too big for the brand, that I was embarrassing myself, and that I should stick to plus-size clothing. But others, oh, the others, they were my tribe, my cheerleaders, my fellow rebels. They were praising me for my bravery, my confidence, and my unapologetic self-expression. "I love this. You're a true inspiration," someone wrote. "Look at you slaying the game. Don't let anyone bring you down," another supporter chimed in. But of course, there were also the haters, the ones who couldn't help but spew their venom and negativity. "You're just trying too hard," someone snickered. "You'll never fit in with the cool kids no matter how hard you try." "You're embarrassing yourself," another person chimed in. "Just accept that you're not made for high-end fashion." But I wasn't having it. I stood firm against the criticism, my confidence unshaken. I responded to the haters with a calm and collected tone, thanking them for their opinion but making it clear that I wouldn't be swayed. "I'm not trying to fit in with anyone's standards," I wrote. "I'm creating my own, and if you can't handle it, then that's your problem, not mine." The comments kept coming, a mix of love and hate, but I was ready for it. I was ready to take on the world, to show everyone that I was more than just a plus-size woman. I was a force to be reckoned with. And the brand, well, they were about to find out what it means to underestimate the power of a strong, confident woman. But that's a story for another time. As I sat in front of my computer, scrolling through my social media notifications, I couldn't help but feel a mix of emotions. Just a few days ago, I had posted a picture of myself wearing the very same brand that had humiliated me in their store. I had written a caption about overcoming my insecurities and embracing my new look, and to my surprise, it had gone viral. Thousands of people had commented and shared my post, praising me for my confidence and expressing their outrage towards the brand's behavior. I was still trying to process the overwhelming response when I saw an email notification from the brand itself. My heart skipped a beat as I hesitated for a moment before clicking on the email. What could they possibly want now? I thought to myself. As I opened the email, I was shocked to see that it was a formal apology from the brand's CEO. They acknowledged that their behavior towards me had been unacceptable and that they were truly sorry for the pain and embarrassment they had caused. I couldn't believe what I was reading. This was a brand that had very publicly humiliated me, and now they were apologizing and wanting to make amends. But what really caught me off guard was the offer that followed. They wanted to offer me a modeling contract, or at the very least, a collaboration with their brand. They claimed that they were impressed by my confidence and my ability to rock their clothing, and they wanted to feature me in their next campaign. I was flabbergasted. Just a few weeks ago, they had told me that I was too fat to wear their clothes, and now they were offering me a modeling contract. It seemed like a drastic change of heart, and I couldn't help but wonder what had really motivated their decision. As I sat there, staring at the email, I couldn't help but think about all the emotions I had felt since that day in the store. The shame, the anger, the hurt. And now, it seemed like the brand was trying to make amends, but I wasn't sure if I was ready to forgive. Would I accept their offer and work with the brand that had once humiliated me? I wasn't sure yet, but I knew I had a lot to think about. I sat in my living room, staring blankly at the apology email on my phone screen. The words were sorry, and we want to make it right swirled together in a jumbled mess, making my head spin. I had to read the email at least 3 times before the message truly sank in. The brand that had once humiliated me, that had made me feel like I wasn't worthy of wearing their clothes, was now offering me a chance to collaborate with them. They wanted me to be the face of their new campaign, to showcase their plus-size range and prove that they were committed to inclusivity. I should have been thrilled. I should have been ecstatic that I had the opportunity to prove them wrong, to show them that I was more than just my weight. But as I sat there, weighing my options, I couldn't shake off the feeling of unease. Working with the brand would come with its pros and cons. On one hand, I would be able to reach a wider audience, to spread a message of body positivity and self-love. I would be able to show women like me that they too deserve to feel confident and beautiful, regardless of their size. On the other hand, I was hesitant to associate myself with a brand that had once hurt me so deeply. I was worried that by working with them, I would be sending a message that it was okay to mistreat people, as long as you apologized afterwards. I was concerned that I would be compromising my values, that I would be sacrificing my self-respect for the sake of fame and fortune. As I pondered my decision, I turned to my loved ones for advice. My friends and family had always been my rock, my support system. They had seen me at my lowest, and they had helped me to pick up the pieces. "What do you think I should do?" I asked them as we sat around the dinner table. My best friend, Rachel, spoke up first. "I think you should do it," she said, her voice firm. "You'll be able to make a real difference to show people that beauty comes in all shapes and sizes." My mom, on the other hand, was more cautious. "I don't know, sweetie," she said. "I don't want you to get hurt again. Maybe it's better to just leave the past in the past." I listened to their opinions, weighing the pros and cons in my mind. But ultimately, the decision was mine to make. As I lay in bed that night, staring up at the ceiling, I knew that I had a tough choice ahead of me. Would I take a chance on the brand that had once broke me, or would I walk away, my head held high? Only time would tell. I've always been a firm believer in the power of empowerment and self-love. It's something I had to learn the hard way, through the struggles and challenges I faced due to my weight. But it's a lesson that has stayed with me, and one that I wanted to share with others. So, when the opportunity to collaborate with the brand that had once shunned me arose, I knew I had to take it. It wasn't just about proving a point or getting revenge. It was about showing the world that people like me, with bodies like mine, could be just as beautiful and deserving of respect. At first, I was hesitant. I didn't want to compromise my values or sacrifice my self-image for the sake of working with a brand that had once hurt me so deeply. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that this could be a chance to make a real difference. By partnering with the brand, I could show the world that body positivity isn't just a trend or a marketing gimmick. It's a movement. It's a way of life that says every person, regardless of their size or shape, deserves to be loved and respected. And so I made the decision to accept their offer. I would work with the brand, but on my own terms. I would use my platform to promote body positivity and self-love, and to show the world that everyone deserves to feel beautiful and confident. As I began working with the brand, I was amazed at the impact we were making. People were responding to my message and sharing their own stories of struggle and triumph. We were creating a community, a space where people could come together and celebrate their differences. It was incredible to see, and I knew that I had made the right decision. But as I delved deeper into the world of the brand, I couldn't shake the feeling that there were still challenges to come. Would I be able to maintain my self-image and values while working with the brand? Only time would tell. I still remember the first meeting I had with the brand's marketing team. They were all smiles, excited to have me on board, but I could sense a hint of uncertainty. They didn't know how to approach the topic of my obesity or how I would fit into their brand's image. I could feel their eyes on me, sizing me up, wondering if I was worthy of representing their luxury brand. But I wasn't there to make them feel comfortable. I was there to make a statement. I was there to show the world that beauty comes in all shapes and sizes, and that I was more than just my weight. So I took a deep breath and laid out my terms. I told them that I would only work with them if they agreed to feature me in their campaigns without airbrushing or photoshopping my body. I wanted to be seen in all my glory, flaws, and all. They nodded eagerly, agreeing to my demands, but I could sense the hesitation behind their smiles. They didn't know what they were getting themselves into, but I did. I was determined to use this platform to promote body positivity and self-love. I was determined to show the world that you don't have to conform to societal standards to be beautiful. The first few months were a whirlwind of photo shoots, interviews, and speaking engagements. I was everywhere, and my message was loud and clear. I was a force to be reckoned with, and people were listening. But with success comes challenges, and I soon found myself facing backlash from some of the brand's loyal customers. They didn't want me representing their beloved brand. They didn't want to see my imperfect body on their Instagram feeds. It hurt, of course. It always does when people try to bring you down, but I refused to let it get to me. I knew that I was doing something important, something that needed to be done. So I took a deep breath and continued on, using my voice to amplify the message of body positivity and self-love. It wasn't always easy, but it was worth it. Every time I saw a young girl or woman look at me with tears in her eyes, telling me that I was an inspiration to her, it made it all worth it. I was making a difference, and that's all that mattered. But the fashion industry is a cruel mistress, and I soon found myself facing a new challenge. The brand's sales were skyrocketing, and they wanted me to be a part of their new campaign. But this time, they wanted me to wear a swimwear line that I knew would be a stretch for me. I knew that I would be out of my comfort zone, and that the world would be watching, waiting for me to fail. So the question was, would I be able to balance my values with the pressures of working in the fashion industry? Or would I lose myself in the process? Only time would tell. As I sit here, reflecting on the journey that has brought me to this moment, I am overwhelmed with a sense of pride and accomplishment. I think back to that fateful day when I was kicked out of the luxury store, and how it sparked a fire within me to challenge the status quo and fight for body positivity. I remember the countless times I was told I couldn't wear certain brands or styles, and how I proved them all wrong by becoming a successful ambassador for the very brand that once rejected me. But as I bask in the glory of my achievements, I am also aware that my work is far from over. I know that I have a responsibility to ensure that my legacy endures, that the impact I've made on the world of fashion and beyond continues to inspire and empower others long after I'm gone. I think about the countless young girls and women who have reached out to me, sharing their own stories of struggle and self-doubt, and how my journey has given them the courage to love themselves and their bodies just the way they are. I continue to promote body positivity and self-love, using my platform to spread a message of acceptance and inclusivity. I collaborate with other brands and designers, pushing them to be more inclusive and diverse in their designs and marketing. I speak at events and conferences, sharing my story and inspiring others to join me in this revolution. And I write articles and blog posts, using my words to challenge societal norms and promote lasting change. As I look out at the world around me, I am heartened by the progress I see. I see more diverse models on the runways and in magazines, more brands offering inclusive sizing and designs, and more people speaking out against body shaming and negativity. And I know that I have played a small part in this movement, that my journey has inspired others to join the fight for body positivity and self-love. But I also know that there is still much work to be done. There are still countless people out there who are struggling with body image issues, who are being marginalized and excluded by the fashion industry and society at large. And I know that I have a responsibility to continue fighting for them, to use my voice and my platform to promote lasting change. As I look to the future, I am filled with a sense of hope and optimism. I know that my legacy will endure, that the impact I've made on the world will continue to inspire and empower others long after I'm gone. And I know that I will continue to fight for body positivity and self-love, using my voice and my platform to promote a more inclusive and accepting world, one where everyone can love themselves and their bodies just the way they are.